Good evening and welcome to our fifth monthly educational event sponsored by SpectraSpray. I am Janet Ryan and I'm the founder of SpectraSpray Global. We are a spray vitamin company, but with my background in nutrition and genetics and a lot of other wellness weight loss programs throughout probably the last 12 years, I started this business and I've been working really hard to bring educational information to you. So I'm going to bring on Ivette Desai, and she's going to be our guest tonight. Let me just bring up session. She's coming in right now, and I'll tell you a little bit more about her once she's on the line. Hi, Ivette.
Hi, Janet. How are you?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great.
Fantastic. What I'd like to do, I just kind of introduced myself in SpectraSpray. I didn't say anything about products or anything yet, but I'd like to just maybe take 2 minutes and say something about our unique spray vitamins, and then I'll introduce you, and you'll have about 15 minutes to tell us some wonderful tips to help move us from overwhelm to calm and ease and balance out our day a lot better than a lot of us have been doing lately.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. So SpectraSpray, as I started to say, is a spray vitamin company. We like to pride ourselves in the fact that we change lives because our spray vitamins absorb, and a lot of people have problems with things like iron levels, vitamin D, B12, even CoQ10, and we now have it in a spray. So by spraying it into your mouth, you open the cap, you spray it in the mouth, and all the nutrients are ready to absorb. So you don't have to deal with the digestive process. Many people have problems with malabsorption or digestion in general, or just can't swallow pills. So a lot of these vitamins can help people replete. Just get my light back there. We also have a very unique, and I'll talk more about the Success Kit, but we have a very unique sleep formula with a little bit of melatonin, some L-theanine, things like that. And it is our #1 seller. So we all know if we don't sleep well and we don't really want to take sleep medications, it really ages us. We can't think well the next day, and we surely can't balance out our day if we don't sleep very well. So that's enough about the spray vitamins. I'd like to introduce you to Ivette. Ivette and I met about, 5 or 6 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
In our wellness circle. I'm not exactly sure which networking or whatever we were at. But we immediately took to each other and said, hey, we have to do more than what we're doing. And we started this New Jersey Women's Health Summit and interviewed a whole bunch of wellness people and doctors and coaches like her, and brought it to the public, not trying to sell anything or raise any money, just to bring the education. So since we've met, I've always known that Ivette is just a great person, gives of her time. She's actually a mother of 3 young adult ladies, 2 in college now, and recently has gotten yoga certifications. In the past, she had attended Institute for Integrative Nutrition. She was a chef, I think, before that, or maybe after that. But just in general, she just brings inspiration to whoever she meets. She's always empowering. She's always positive. We did a couple Reiki sessions together a couple years ago, which were incredible. I couldn't believe how beneficial that was. So enough. I'd like you to introduce yourself and what you're going to do tonight, and we'll go from there. And I'll ask you a couple
Wonderful.
questions.
Thank you so much, Janet, for having me, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. I feel equally enamored by you and the work that you're doing. I just see how you've grown and this company that you've created. It's really incredible. So I'm very grateful to be here as well. So thank you. I'm an integrative yoga health coach. I'm a yoga instructor and author of an international best-selling book called Relaunch Your Life Force. And okay, you brought it on. Wonderful, thank you. I was just thinking, I forgot that. So thank you, wonderful, thank you. And so that's really kind of like a life manual for holistic, healthy living. And I've really moved my practice beyond that, even more so now, just because I'm so focused on the use of Ayurveda. And I really work with women who are in overwhelm, in stress, and help them move to more ease and more balance in their life. So women who are suffering from hormonal imbalances, women who are suffering from emotional eating, digestive issues, stubborn weight loss. And I help to heal them with different lifestyle tools, mainly Ayurveda and habit changing science. And I really became a health coach. And I'm also a Reiki master. I just don't do as much Reiki, but a lot of that energy work comes into what I do. But I became a health coach because of my own health issues, similar to what I've described in the past. And I really decided that I just wanted to support other women in their healing process as well. Those dogs always get in the way, right?
You
My
know
dog
what?
thinks
Let me
you.
just keep talking. Let me just go get rid of
Yeah,
her.
that's okay, sweetheart.
She's an old dog with a
I know, I
birthday
have an
coming
old
up.
dog
Hold
too.
on.
That's okay,
Keep going.
sweetheart. That's
Keep
fine.
going.
So I guess what I'll start with is just a little bit about what Ayurveda is, because not everyone knows what Ayurveda is. So when I've studied yoga for, I think, over 20 years when I look back, maybe not consistently, but I studied yoga for many years. And as I became more entrenched with yoga, I became aware of Ayurveda, which is actually the sister science to yoga. And it's an Eastern modality of medicine. And Ayurveda has been around for about 5,000 years. And it's not a fad because it's been around for 5,000 years. And there's a lot of proven science. And in fact, a lot of holistic modalities use a lot of the principles behind Ayurveda. And the principle behind Ayurveda is that everything, whether or not it's alive or dead, is connected in some way. And when we are living in rhythm with the cycles of day, of night, of the seasons, of the time of life, and with nature, and with the moon cycles and the sun cycles, and then we're balanced and we have health. And so when we're going counter to that, then that's when we become sick. And so Ayurveda focuses on these energies, the energies of Kapha, Pitta, and Vata. And we're born with a certain Prakriti. And so that's our constitution. And as we progress through life, we develop certain imbalances. And so Ayurveda actually gives us the tools to begin to bring ourselves back into balance. And so,
Can I ask
yeah,
you, can I politely
yeah,
ask you to be able to put your face more in the screen?
sure.
Because we're,
You're
we're,
just,
we're not really seeing the mouth that much.
oh,
That's better.
okay. All right. Okay.
That's
Okay.
better. That's better.
Okay.
Thank you
Yeah, no
so
problem. I just
much.
can't, on the screen, it looks like I'm all there, so that's fine. Okay.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
all right.
right.
No problem. Thank you. So, and I guess just a little bit more about, I mean, there's really, different reasons we get sick, but three reasons I believe that we get sick are, first of all, we're not necessarily learning from our mistakes. So for example, we might be going, you use the example of sleep, Janet. So if we're going to sleep late every single night and getting up early and not getting enough sleep, then we know the next morning that we're feeling groggy, we're not having the energy, we're not having the presence, we might be over hungry, and we're aging a lot more. So if we're not learning from that experience and we keep delving into the same processes and patterns over and over again, then we're going to develop a chronic issue around this, which could be in premature aging, for example, or coming in towards dementia for another reason. The second reason that we get sick is because we're not really engaging in sensory organ care. So we have our senses of taste, of sight, of smell, of hearing, and touch. And if we're not taking care of those, we know that each day we are focusing on technology so much, so we're not protecting our eyes. So our eyes begin to deteriorate. If we're not honoring our taste and listening that our body actually doesn't want something in our body, then we'll get sick because we're going counter to what our intuition is actually telling us.
It sounds like so much of it is based on awareness.
Yes.
Like you telling us these things to be aware of. People wouldn't even be aware until you mention it, and then maybe walk us through some coaching on how to be more aware.
Yeah, of course. So part of that too, I just want to, is this, being in the rhythm, being in the cycle. So, we are mammals, right? So, with day and night, we go to sleep at night, but, our technologies have developed so that we can stay up later, do things more, push through. So one of the things I like to share is the power of the pause, right? So, one of the big things in Ayurveda is taking that time out to really be able to take that pause, breathe deep, and digest our emotions, our experiences, and our food. And from a Western perspective, we might be taught to have 3 meals a day and snacks, right? And for a child, that might be okay. But for an adult that's fully grown, we really need that space to digest our food. There's so many diseases that are happening because we're not allowing our bodies to fully digest. And so if we go to bed with a full stomach, our body is still digesting food rather than allowing our body to do the processes of detoxifying our body, rejuvenating the cells in the middle of the night, the processes that should really be done while we're sleeping.
I feel too that we're so running and so wired that quite often we think we're hungry, and we're really hungry for maybe what you said, pause or sensitivity, something that we're doing with our hands, or just sounds that we could, like, I've started to listen to more classical music, and it's very, very calming.
Yeah.
It's not technology oriented.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and honoring what our body truly needs rather than, I guess part of what we do as society is, we're taught in Western culture a lot to go, 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 do, do, do. And so, we're not necessarily focusing on what we truly desire and what we truly want in our life. And so, by honoring those cycles, then we can tap into that inner wisdom because, our body has the power to heal itself, right? It really does.
Right.
And so
how does working with your coaching differ from other practices out there, whether it's nutrition or whether it's just Reiki? How does it pull it all together?
yeah, so it is a holistic modality. And so the way that I use it is the master yogis of years ago came up with these 10 habits. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that. But I focus not necessarily, say you visit with a nutritionist or a dietitian, they might give you a program, for example, to follow. And sometimes with that, there's not necessarily strategies of understanding how to implement that or integrate that into your life. And so what I do is I help to really understand people's personal situation, their work situation, where their stress is really coming from, what kind of exercise that they might be doing. Maybe they're over exercising, for example. And then where is the food coming from? And how are they eating? Are they giving space with their food? So taking into consideration as well their relationships. And then using habit changing science, we kind of try to understand, everyone's trying to sabotage themselves in some way. We not always think that we're worthy, or, we get to a certain point and we kind of think, oh no, we get off the track, and, or we make excuses. So understanding what these patterns are and creating better patterns using habit changing science around that. And one of the key components is a dynamic group. So a lot of my work is group work. And we all know that when we try to implement change, sometimes it's very difficult for us. And because part of that is that because we're the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. And so if we're with people who are unhealthy, then it's going to be very hard to change a lot of those habits. So if we surround our people with people, who already have those habits, then we're more likely to follow that pattern and feel more at ease in developing these new ways of living.
So it's the social support. And boy, what a good time for that, because so many of us have been so isolated. I mean, you have a family, I have a family, but many, many people right now are alone, with COVID, if they are single, or if a spouse has passed, or even if they're a student, they might even be in a dorm room. And that social support, especially if you're trying to go from overwhelm to ease, or not just lose weight, but eat healthy, or do things that are going to be good for you, is very hard without that support.
Yeah. And so it just gives you a little bit more accountability. You feel inspired by other people in the group that are able to do it. You have the support of a group to lean into when you're having a bad day and things are going wrong. But people are there to lift you up and inspire you and bring you forward.
So are you doing this mostly Zoom now, or whichever?
Yeah, so we are doing it Zoom, but we are and have been meeting for hikes so that we can be together. We do that once a month, and then we have different workshops. So now that things are opening up a little bit more, we're trying to get together more as a group. But not everyone is in New Jersey. Yeah, right, exactly. But not everyone's in New Jersey, so we don't always have that full capability.
Tell us more about the 10 habits,
Yeah.
please.
So there are 10 habits, and we start with early late dinner. So, having a lighter meal, because by the time we go to bed, we want to make sure that the food is digested. So that,
Mm.
our everything is empty so that our body can go through that detoxification process and process the emotions and the experiences of the day. The second one is early to bed. So I know we're always taught, especially from a Western perspective, that we should have 7 or 8 hours of sleep. But we're never really taught about when that sleep is best to have. And
Mm.
so, when we look at the energies on an Ayurvedic clock, which I can't really show you here, but, the Pitta time of the day, which is between 10 and 2 a.m., is when our body is ready to do those detoxification processes. And I always hear about people, well, I'm a night owl, right? I'm a night owl. And so, that's, if we're in that Pitta time and we're staying up, that's because you're getting that second wind. And really, if you're going to bed, then you're allowing yourself to really go into that deep detoxification. We think the next one is start the day right. So we want to start the day with, a big glass of warm water. We want to poop everything out, eliminate everything from the day before so that we can bring in new energy. We can help bring in new energy with our body breath practice before
Did
breakfast.
you say warm water?
Yeah, warm water. Warm water.
Room temperature, like your body
Yeah,
temperature?
or even a little bit warmer. You want to be able to put your finger in and not burn it. But yeah, that helps to really deeply hydrate the cells. And if you have at least a quart in the morning,
Lemon?
yeah, I mean, you ideally, you don't want to have that, but if you need to use lemon just initially, sometimes, there's other spices that Ayurveda will also suggest depending upon what your imbalances are. And so, yeah, lemon can be one thing, apple cider vinegar can be another. Some other type of spices just to kind of help, depending upon what's going on in your body. And then, we can go on to body breath practice, which is exercise, meditation, self-massage. Our hands are very healing. So healing really helps to reduce stress a lot. I go back to that sensory organ care. So taking care of our senses, using different oils, resting the eyes, making sure that we're cleaning the nasal passages. And then the last one, well, not the last one, is the next one is easeful living. But then we also have two, which are around healthy eating guidelines and plant-based eating. So I'm not saying that we have to be vegans or vegetarians, but, we want to have as many plants and diversify that because that really helps to diversify our microbiome. We focus.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to ask, is there a dietary
right.
component to this? Because it's not just sleeping and pooping and having a great
Right.
day.
And yeah, and and some of these sound very easy, right, Janet? Like, but the question is,
I do one at a
right?
time, right?
But so, but how, how do, are you doing these consistently on a day-to-day basis? And, we may not be doing everything at an A plus because I'm not an A plus person. I'm over that, but we look to go for a B minus. We can all go at an 80% and do the best we can. And, if we lean into these habits and focus on the habits rather than the results just kind of come along.
Now, you mentioned about family, it's kind of hard if someone has one of the people at home is coming home later from work, whether it's you or your spouse or your partner. So maybe some tricks around that would be, okay, I'm going to eat by 5, but here's your dinner at 7:30 because that's the time you get home, but at least you can take care of you.
Yeah. So, one of the things we do in my family is we do a lot of batch cooking in our home, and we do a lot with the pressure cooker and a lot with the slow cookers. And so, you can put things in there and, have a lot of
Great.
fresh salads and, things chopped up so you can put things together. And so, you are able to have everything ready by, 5. And, or sometimes you can make a dinner, and then I like to have my big meal in the middle of the day. And then I'll send that with my husband. And I'm very fortunate right now because my youngest, who is at home, she's coming home at 12:30. So she's having her biggest meal. So COVID has actually helped us in that respect in terms of like eating a lot better. But we still do have, the kids are involved with activities and things. So, they're a little bit more malleable at their age. I think it's when, you know, we're getting a little bit older, but still these are things that we're teaching them so they understand and they recognize, oh, I do feel better if I don't have that bowl of ice cream at 10 o'clock at night, right?
And so many Europeans, you know, do their big meal during the day, then they take a nap, they have a little bit of wine, they might even dance around a little bit.
Yeah.
And my daughter, who's only 23, was like, you know, I have a little nap sometimes, 15 minutes, and I feel like $1,000,000. I go, and you're only 23. I'm like twice your age. I go, it feels great to take, I don't drink the wine in the middle of the day, but it feels great to take that little nap. And today I fell asleep out by my pool. The sun was on me. I even had a blanket on. I went into the deepest, deepest rest, and then I woke right up, and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to teach
There you
piano.
go.
And that
That's
was
beautiful.
that.
That's a beautiful day to be outside today too.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So taking care of your senses, I really like that angle because what's the word? We're not in touch with our senses
Yeah,
anymore because of the go, go,
yeah.
go. We forget what it's like to feel. I know a couple months ago through all of this COVID, I said, I kind of forgot how to have fun because we're not going out, we're not with friends. What do I really enjoy? I mean, maybe you enjoy getting one of those nice coloring books, or if you
Dance
used to paint
parties.
and you
Dance party.
dance. We used to do that.
I
Yeah,
do
dance
dance
parties,
parties.
Zoom dance
Yeah,
parties.
we do dance
Yeah,
parties.
you don't even need alcohol. You can just dance. One of the ladies support group, one of the ladies networking groups, it was the New Jersey Chamber of Commerce. It was the North Jersey Chamber of Commerce. It was great. At the very end, everybody danced, and we weren't even drinking or anything. Everybody just danced and
Yeah,
laughed, and like, boy, we really all needed that.
exactly, right? You know, you gotta
Yeah,
create fun, you know, wherever you are, you know,
yeah,
you gotta,
yeah,
you know, make it, we only have one life, right? You gotta make it fun.
yeah. So you had a couple more tips to tell
Yeah,
us?
I mean, I think, you know, if you want to think a little bit about sensory organ care, especially because we're spending so much time in front of a screen. You know, one of the things I like to do is just eye cupping, where you take your palms and you just rub them together,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just warming them up. And then you take the heel of your palm and place it on the bone structure of your eyes and just cup your eyes. And then you can begin to roll your eyes back and
Mm,
down and side to side.
that's
And then
great.
just rotate them around to the right, rotate them around to the left, and then just let them go. Well, it's very easy. And if you don't want to do that, you
Yeah.
can look out onto the horizon if you have a window to look out, and just allow your eyes to rest. It's so important for us.
Mm.
And
Again, being aware that you should do that,
yeah,
that it's good for you and it's okay
yeah. And that's the big
to
thing. It is
stop.
okay to stop, right? And so that actually brings me to the next one, which I think I kind of,
Okay.
you know, was about pausing. And, you know I kind
Mm,
of connotated to this in the beginning, but, you know, we really need the time to allow our body to digest our emotions. You know, this is
mm,
something I really realized through the years, and I think particularly after my mom passed, because you go through so much grief and we're not always
mm,
processing those emotions. And I think a lot of times, because we are go, 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 do, we numb those emotions. And that ends up
mhm,
creating a lot of inflammation in our body. Because you know, inflammation not only comes from the foods that we're eating, but it comes from the toxic emotions. And if we're not
mm.
processing that, if we're not processing our emotions and our experiences, then that all turns to chronic inflammation in our body. And you know where chronic inflammation goes. Um,
Everywhere.
right.
Your weakest part.
Yeah. And so just taking
Yeah.
2 minutes, you know, after you finish maybe an intense meeting, or you're driving somewhere, or an intense conversation, or even just a general conversation, just taking 2 minutes or even a minute and just pausing and breathing and just letting it process is so important.
And I think, you know, a lot of women these days do work, whether they're doing something as an entrepreneur like we do, or they work for a company. I find that I was booking meetings almost back to back. And I'm like, this doesn't work. I need to have no more than 2 meetings a day, especially if they're important ones. And then take about an hour after to just walk around, unwind, digest it,
Yeah.
and then make some
Yeah.
notes. And then I make the notes, I put it away. I don't have to worry that I forgot anything, and I exhale.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we just don't exhale. And I'm sorry that I'm not learning this until my age. I'm glad that you're out there, and I'm hoping that you're teaching some of the younger people, because they surely feel like, oh, I got to make all this money, I got to get this job, and then they just hit a wall, and they don't know why. Because I mean, I think it's better now because a lot of the younger people are home, and they're learning what it's like to, hey, I could keep my slippers on and have a cup of tea. And I want to be with people. That kind of feels good, though.
But I think even so, even some of the older people now who are home, who have had this opportunity to no longer commute, to have a little bit more work-life balance. Now some are being called to go back to work. And I think there's a little bit of resistance there to go back full-time. And at least, and now they realize that a lot of companies are able to work remotely, and they are still being successful. And so I know, for example,
it's going to be a good hybrid.
Right, there's going to be a lot of hybrid, which I think is good for that work-life balance, and especially when there's families involved.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's just so much to do and so little time. I was watching a cute little movie the other night. It was just kind of a superficial, fun movie. I think it was like Emily in Paris or something. My daughter's laughing. She go, what are you watching? I go, I needed something very simple. And it was so cute because she went to Paris to work, and she's working with this cute little French guy. And he's like, you know, you Americans, you live to work. We work to live. And that really, really hit me, because it's like, in other countries, they take 6 weeks holiday. They, you know, they end at a certain time of day. A lot of them have 4 days a week now. And I think the whole pandemic is going to kind of shine a light on a lot of that.
I certainly hope so.
So I want you to tell us a little bit about your book, because I loved it. It was so easy to read. It made sense. You had said before that it was like a life manual. I felt that way because each chapter, kind of like you're telling us now, gave us some tips that we could implement into our life.
So I wrote this book, and you know, it details my health journey. So you know, at one point in the mid 2000s now, or like 2012, 11, I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis, spinal myelopathy, adrenal fatigue, and a thyroid condition. And I was told at that time that I'd have to go into pharmaceuticals and also have surgery. And I didn't want to do that. And fortunately, I had a community around me who guided me in the right direction in terms of dealing with different complementary modalities. And so I was able to heal myself from this without using the pharmaceuticals and going through surgery. And that's what really inspired me to become a health coach. And I decided to do that because I thought, if I can do this, why isn't everyone else doing this? And as I began to go through this, I decided to become a health coach and help other people. But as I was going through that journey, there were a lot of things that I was repeating over and over again to people. And so I came up with this book as kind of a manual. So when clients began to work with me, this was their manual. And so that would give me the space and the time to work with them more on habit changing science, a little bit more around the strategies and understanding their patterns and the ways that they would sabotage themselves. And so, you know, that's just kind of a guide. So, you know, I talk about very simple things, for example, meditation. You know, I always hear when I'm talking with a client, you need to sit still or you need to do something quiet. They're like, I don't have time for meditation. But, you know, it doesn't take 30 minutes. You know, you can take a minute a day and just start very softly. Maybe you just put a pillow, you know, or a blanket over your head. Or maybe you just go out and walk in nature, right?
That.
Exactly. So it's taking that pause. So that's one example. And then I talk a little bit about, you know, healthy prepping of food and the foods that are good for you and your body, getting good sleep, and then also balancing the different types of exercise that you can have. And just, you know, looking at different energy modalities, and, you know, there's a little mini detox in there if that's something that you want to kind of go through.
And you have recipes. You have some recipes.
Yep. And I have some recipes in back as well.
I have to look again because now I'm eating a lot healthier. So I think I might even be able to
There you go. That would be great.
Pumpkin seed pate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can do that with sunflower seeds too. So you can interchange. It doesn't have to only be the pumpkin seeds. So some people don't like pumpkin seeds. So, you know, there's also a sunflower portion of that as well if you ever want to try that.
Okay. So tell us how we can connect with you, how the audience here can connect with you afterwards, what your website is.
Sure. So my website is www.ivettedesai.com, and that's Ivette with an I. I'm also on Instagram at Ivette Desai, and LinkedIn. And I also, on Facebook, I have a healthy habits Facebook group, which is free. Right now, what I've started is a membership. So for people that are interested in doing yoga on a monthly basis, there's a small fee for that. And then I'm doing a monthly health coaching call. So, that is, $50 a month, which I think is very reasonable for 3 times a week yoga. There's a yoga library, and then you get health coaching. So you understand some of these habits. And then you have the support in the free group. So that's one way. You can also, if you're very serious and you're ready to commit to true general, growth, then, you can join me with my 10 Habits to Thrive course, which is an annual program.
And they'll find that on your website. Yes. I'm going to put a link underneath this video. As we share it, I'll have a link to the things that you're telling them that they can connect with.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And how do they get the book? Is it sold on Amazon?
This book is sold on Amazon. Yeah, and I forgot to mention that if you would like to have a copy of the book, the first person to reach out to me and ask for a 30-minute session, I will give you a free copy, signed copy of my book. Send it to you wherever you are.
Okay, great. So should I put your email address then in the link? Okay, that would be good. Thank you so much, Yvette. I wanted to just share one of our kits that I think is appropriate for stress relief, sleeping, and energy. I'm not going to say much because I already talked about the sprays and their delivery system, but we have a kit called, I don't know if it's upside down or not with this video.
I think it is.
It's their sleep spray.
I have it too.
It's upside down. You have one too?
I think going that way. Yep, that's my stress spray. It's right there. I think that, I think it's still backwards, but I don't know how to do that. So, but yes, I have it too. I want to share it with you.
The stress spray is blue. I picked the colors for a reason. Stress spray has really great B vitamins, very highly absorbable, and some really good herbs that are proven for stress support. The B12 is just that. It's in an active form. You can use it every day, or you can use it as needed. And then, of course, the sleep support. These 3 together we call the Success Kit. I originally named it for corporate success, but I think just any success for your day, for your night, is dependent upon those 3 things: energy, sleep, and stress levels. And of course, I always, always, always promote eating first. Sleep first, eating first. Taking care of you, like you had said, with your senses is more important than any vitamin. You have to do food first. Have to. If you're poisoning yourself with all these toxic things, no vitamin, no spray, no vitamin D is going to do anything if you have all those toxins, both physiologically and psychologically, in your system. So do you have any closing words for us?
I just want to thank you for having me here. And it's been a pleasure. And I thank you.
I'm so happy to reconnect with you, Yvette, and hopefully in the future we can continue to maybe, interview some other people in our wellness circle, because I think what happened throughout COVID is a lot more people got in touch with their health, their wellness, their psychological state, and we do have people, thank God, like Yvette and myself, to coach, to listen, and to be there with some solutions. And it's really important to connect. With each other.
Wonderful.
So thank you so much for teaching us about how to go from overwhelm to ease. I know it's just the start and you would need coaching, but if you guys want to join the Facebook group, there is a way to join that private group without the membership, or only with the membership?
Without the membership. Without the membership. Yeah.
Okay. I want to make that clear, because I know Diane is watching. There's a couple other people I know are going to watch afterwards. So if it's something you'd like to do and you're still kind of stuck at home, please do it and get the encouragement from a truly inspirational coach.
Thank you. You're an inspiration as well. Thank you so much, Janet.
Thank you.
All right.
Everyone stay
well.
Okay,
be well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.